Padding and margins. All content added to a web page comes wrapped inside a container called a bounding box. The bounding box is the borders within which content can operate. Connected to this concept comes two essential features, padding and margins. Let's look at padding first and use this text element with some placeholder text inside to visualize this. You see that the text is all the way to the borders of the container. We will refer to the text part as the content and view it separately from the bounding box. Padding allows us to add space between the content and the bounding box's border. Here I have the same text element with padding added. We add padding in the measurement of pixels, the measurement we mostly use for creating websites. In this case, we've added padding of 50 pixels at the top, 50 pixels to the left and the right each, and 50 pixels at the bottom. Let's increase the padding and you observe what happens. The width of the bounding box remains constant, but because you are adding space, you are squashing the text to additional lines. For these additional lines, the box adjusts vertically in height. Padding is added inside the bounding box, between the border and the content. Every website you find online has padding applied somewhere. Margins, on the other hand, works with everything outside the bounding box. Margins determine the placement of the element on the page and how it relates to other elements on the page. Here we have an image element and a text element. When I increase the margin to the bottom of the image element, the space between the two elements becomes larger. We use margins to add distance between different elements on a page. One counterintuitive feature regularly used in web page layout design is that of negative margins. In the previous example, I showed you how to add distance between elements. When you decrease that distance, you can go into negative values, in which case the element in question will begin to overlap the adjacent element. Mastering this technique will help you create very interesting layout designs. To recap, padding is the space between the content and its bounding box. It is added to create negative space. Margins add space between different elements. Positive margins move an element further away from the other elements, and negative margins move them closer and even allow them to overlap. Padding and margins are constantly used in web page design. Try and get familiar with how they work early in your website making journey.